first video we have is when gooning ruins your life. Let's get straight into it.
Gooner is someone who has completely lost themselves to their own horniness. A mindless, hedonistic dopamine fiend that lives only to edge, only to goon. Gooning, as it should, has something of a negative connotation associated with it.
Yeah.
After all, if every waking hour of your day is spent in a lustful haze searching for the next...
Listen, as a gooner myself, yes, I said gooner, because I still can't stop. But it's showing you how bad it really is. I've been putting the effort. I didn't want to touch myself today, even though I did. I didn't want to, but it made me realize, like, hold on, if I don't want to do it, why am I doing it? So now, you know what I'm saying, I'm probably not going to do it, at least for today. But you know what I'm saying, it has very bad lasting effects.
Nut, you're bound to run into trouble. And in fact, many people have gotten into some deep shit because of their gooning addictions. To a court judge caught with their pants down, bricked up policemen getting busted, and salacious students getting exposed, today we'll be looking at various cases of how gooning can ruin your life. The Gooner police officer. If you've ever been to any corn websites, you've encountered the trope of the
Whoa. I was not ready for this. Hold on. Oh, I pressed the wrong one. Damn it. I don't know how to use the soundboard. Sorry, guys.
The horny cop. A fictional scenario where a cop pulls over a rather conveniently aroused woman. Maybe she offers to blow the guy to get out of a ticket. We all know the trope. Now, while I'm sure something like this has happened in the real world, all the people in these videos are adult entertainers and nobody is actually getting pulled over and is a cop. Well, with the exception of this one instance. I'd like to introduce you to the Gooner cop, Sean Herman. This bricked up law enforcement officer was so terminally titulated that he participated in one of these horny cop style videos. But he was actually a cop and was actually on the clock when he did it.
Holy shit. But like, come on, dude. On the job? Now, have I ever had, you know, those thoughts while I'm at Walmart working in the coolers? If I can get one off and nobody would know? Yes. But that don't mean I'm going to act on it. So why would you be doing this at work, gang?
Told you were going too fast. Nobody listens to me.
I'm not going to get a ticket.
How do you think that you're going to get a ticket?
I'm going to show my...
No, you're not.
Watch me. Just watch.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm Officer Jones, MPD.
In May of 2024, numerous media outlets came forward alleging a Nashville police officer by the name of Sean Herman had appeared in a sexually explicit video online, a video published by an OnlyFans model. Really giving my city a great name, Herman. Now, if Sean was doing all of this in his free time, perhaps it wouldn't have been a problem, but Pee Wee Herman here was fucking around on the job. A report from News Channel 5 Nashville dove into Sean's history and exposed his illicit gooning misadventures. The article details Herman had been featured prominently alongside a large-chested OnlyFans model named Jordan, with the officer reportedly groping her breasts in a sexual manner while dressed in a Nashville PD uniform. And my tax dollars paid for all of it.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm Officer Jones, MPD.
Yo, these dudes gotta stop, bro.
No.
Well, I got you going 65 and I'm 45 back there, okay? Do you have your license and registration on you?
I actually don't have it in this car, but what if I show you?
And she pulls her girls out and he grabs and rubs on them and she gets out of the ticket, is how the rest of that goes. It's a classic setup. Folks online angry with the video potentially having an on-duty cop.
I would too. It wasn't me. Why should I be happy it wasn't me? And why was he on the job?
Cop managed to ascertain where the deputy feature worked after Sean accidentally showed part of the Nashville Police Department logo when part of his shoulder.
Yo, bro, I know that dude was crying. I know he was like, ah, you matter of fact, he's what he looked like. I know his ass was fuming.
Popped into frame. His squad car was also briefly shown in the video as well. People called Nashville PD and asked them to investigate this potential Class A gooning incident.
If you look closely on the top right-hand corner, you'll see the officer's shoulder and just a sliver of what appears to be the Metro Nashville Police.
Oh my God, they got it pixel by pixel.
patch.
Sean got to stop and frisk an OF model, but with misconduct allegations coming to the surface, the man soon found his body of work facing a hands-on investigation. After being identified as the booba-grabbing policeman, Herman
Look
was
at that. Yeah, I'd
subsequently
be mad too.
investigated
Look at
and
that face.
fired, ending his 3-year stint as an officer. In response,
ass
a
out.
police representative named Don Aaron stated, "That was one of the most outrageous, disrespectful acts that a person here could do. By disrespectful, I mean to all the Metro Nashville Police Department employees." And there were some online curious to know what Jordan, the OnlyFans chick, thought about this situation and how the infamous video came to be in the first place. These questions would be answered when Outkick, a sports-oriented news outlet, decided to interview the woman over direct messages. When asked about how this
At US Bank, when we say we're in it with you, we mean it. Not just
came to be, she said, "I met the officer a while back in person for a few moments, and one day he saw me on Reddit and reached out about potentially filming a full video at some point in the future. Obviously, we've all wondered if flashing cops would get you out of tickets, right? Every guy/girl has joked about it, so I thought it'd be funny / playful." The OnlyFans content creator elaborated that the clip was only filmed as a promotional stunt in an effort to boost her popularity, with it only ever being posted to her Twitter and Reddit accounts. She made it clear that there wasn't a longer cut of it as many assumed, because, there was like a fuckload of people looking for this video. Missed opportunity, I guess. Jordan continued more, saying that she hadn't expected for anyone to piece together where Sean worked and felt bad about what had happened. The well-endowed model also said that in light of Sean's firing, she had given the Gooner cop a month's worth of salary as a show of good faith, adding that she thought he would do well in the adult film industry. I'm sure that's the
his
last
only option
thing
at
bro
this point.
wanted to hear at the time. And things only got worse for Sean Herman,
Let me guess, he
as
had a
the
wife.
Nashville Police Department made a statement giving an update on the matter at a later date, confirming that the gooning incident would in fact be a criminal matter. In the statement, Nashville PD confirmed that Herman had not just been in uniform at the time of the video's filming, but was actually on duty during the groping. Because of this, he was arrested on felony charges of misconduct, with his bond being set at $3,000. Later in August, News Channel 5 Nashville once again reported on the absurd case and gave final details surrounding the resolution of this whole ordeal. In their article, they revealed Herman had posted bail and managed to avoid serious jail time, though his police certification was suspended. Because of his participation in this brain-dead gooner stunt, Sean Herman's police career is most likely over, if not extremely damaged. When participating in an OF model's promotional video as an on-duty policeman gets you fired, it's a great example of how gooning can ruin your life. Something else that could just as easily ruin your life is having your identity stolen.
I knew it.
Submit.
Stop playing with me.
And they were settling out when gooning tragically ends your life in what has
Oh my God, there goes the goon. There goes the
become
goon.
the ultimate cautionary tale showcasing the darker elements of gooning. Next, I'll be telling the harrowing tale of the goonicide. When a man is caught on camera gooning in public, the online backlash becomes too much to bear. The story of the goonicide all begins on January 8th, 2025 in the drive-thru of a Bikini Beans location in Tempe, Arizona. For those unfamiliar with the establishment, Bikini Beans is a chain of coffee shops with a gimmick similar to Hooters or Twin Peaks. Think mostly young female staff dressing up in revealing outfits, cleavage showing, cheeks peeking out, They serve coffee.
Ooh, I wonder how that shit is on summers or in the winters. That shit would be funny as hell. I might have to recreate the Gus Lagoon video. Coffee Bean, whatever establishment. Y'all might be seeing me soon.
Wearing bikinis.
Can we get one of these in Nashville?
Now, as you might expect, with an establishment like this, it's a hot spot for gooners, and some of them try to take advantage of the fact that half-naked women are in abundance and are being paid to serve you. Creeps have been a problem in this industry for years, with many notable cases of Hooters waitresses getting groped and sexually assaulted by handsy clients. But the case here...
I wonder what goes through a girl's head when they be working there. Because it's like, why men are there for. So you're just gonna let, you know what I'm saying? Me personally, if I knew I was a bad girl, you know what I'm saying? I'm just posting on Instagram, TikTok, make it, man, I'm taking as much money as I can from them, but I'm not gonna, reveal myself or do any of that. I know my worth. Shit.
With Bikini Beans is different, as it involves a man actually pulling up to the drive-thru in the middle of what appears to be a full-blown gooning and edging session.
Gus of the
Hi, how are
Goon.
you? Good. Have you been here before?
Yeah.
Sir, you need to leave. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Call 911.
Look at the Gus of the Goon.
Pulling up with his dick and balls on display, this diabolical drive-thru degenerate indecently exposed himself to this woman for sexual gratification, to satisfy a twisted kink. Whatever the case, she caught him on camera doing so. Realizing this, his smugly cheerful expression.
Look at that. How he look like this. GG's.
Is rattled to one of intense fear. Being caught red-handed, he sped off, regret hitting him like a sobering rush of post-nut clarity. And sadly, this wouldn't be the end of the humiliation for the Bikini Beans gooner. The video filmed by the employee was soon posted online and went viral due to its shocking and baffling premise. Tweets discussing it garnered tens of thousands of likes, and for about a week, this video seemed like all anybody was trying to talk about online. In many ways, the incident brought the word gooning itself to the mainstream, and the man in the video became a symbol for the gooner lifestyle, if it were.
That's the
you know, just fully embracing one's hedonistic desires and letting those primal urges take over, no matter the consequence. It was a humorous little viral moment, but questions remain. Who actually was this now infamous pantsless individual, and what happened to him? Well, the answer to that question was more tragic than anybody could have expected. On January 13th, 2025, just 2 days after the Bikini Beans gooner video was initially posted, a screenshot from a local Facebook group surfaced, claiming that the man featured in the video.
The Gus of the Goon died, man. You will live on in the goons of all men and women.
Had actually offed himself after being caught and exposed for gooning in public. And this was no baseless meme or rumor, it was actually true, and police had become involved. As it turns out, the man was a 27-year-old named Nautica Malone, and he surprisingly had a wife and family. A TMZ report gives greater detail on the timeline of events. The report claims on January 8th, Malone had pulled up pantsless to the drive-thru at Bikini Beans. An employee suspicious of the nudity told a manager. Staff alleged that Malone had even begun masturbating inside of his vehicle. So it seems like they kind of knew something was up beforehand, which explains the filming. As far as I'm aware, the first instance of the video itself being posted to the web was on January 10th. And according to reports, on January 11th, Nautica Malone drove to the city of Avondale, Arizona, and took his own life by gunshot to the head. Malone would later be found dead in his vehicle, which was parked in the lot of the Tullison Crossroads shopping plaza. Police body cam footage shows deputies investigating the aftermath.
Sir, please just stay over there.
The Gus of the
Keep an eye
Goon?
on him. I'm gonna check for a pulse. It's already cocked back, so it looked like it only had one bullet. Yeah. Okay. Hey, man.
Cock back and just leave. We'll take that in there. You have no pulse?
They got no pulse.
According to TMZ, Nautica Malone's brother had received a distressing call from him earlier in the day. Additionally, a note authored by Nautica shortly before his death was also discovered. It was to his wife. Quote, "I apologize. I love you, Queen. I made a mistake and don't think I'll be able to face you and the babies. I don't know why I drove through like that. My mental has been fucked up. I'm not a monster. I apologize and I love you forever. If I am in critical condition, please pull the plug." The news of Nautica Malone's death broke the internet. Many mourned the man's passing, though considering the circumstances leading up to his demise, it should come at no surprise that gallows humor was rampant, with many internet users referring to Nautica's Malone's death as a goonicide. And if I'm being honest, while it is extremely tragic and saddening, I can't be too upset at people for joking about what happened here. You know, considering the whole Pulling up with
The
your
goon,
stuff
because of the
out to a
goon.
place with half-naked chicks working there? Ben Lyles, the owner of Bikini Beans, certainly wasn't afraid of standing up for his employees even in the wake of the sad news. He told TMZ this: "This was an unfortunate and tragic situation. In this case, an individual chose to commit a crime at one of our locations. We take incidents like this very seriously and remain committed to protecting our team and maintaining a safe and respectful environment." The story of the goonicide does have somewhat of a positive ending, at least as positive of an ending you could hope for in a twisted story like this. Towards the end of January, it was announced that internet users and fans of the originally shared viral video would
Fans
be
is
holding
crazy.
an impromptu funeral-style remembrance event for
funeral.
Nautica Malone outside of the Bikini Beans coffee shop where this all
Yo,
transpired,
this is
dubbing
crazy.
it the Gooneral. While some protested against the idea,
Yo, can you imagine? Oh, hold on. Give me a sec. There we go. Can wait. Can you imagine pulling up to the establishment and be like, "All right, guys, let's host a funeral for the Gus of the Goon." You know what I'm saying? He was a good man. Everybody, you know, pull out your start gooning. Everybody, goon for the Gus of the Goon. That is outrageous.
characterizing Malone as a sexual criminal, it seemed like at this point, after everything that had transpired, most felt Nautica Malone had paid enough penance for the drive-through debauchery that contributed to the ending of his life.
Nut and run. Amen.
When I say his name, you say Nautica. Say his name.
Nautica! Nautica! Nautica!
The Gooneral had dozens in attendance, each paying their respects to Mr. Malone, closing the chapter on the goonicide, the ultimate cautionary tale of the dangers of reckless gooning and what it can lead to.
You gotta watch out with your weapon, man. That weapon
library
can do a lot of
gooners.
damage.
In the era of OnlyFans, you often see women posting online these provocative publicity stunts to social media, attempting to draw people into subscribing to their pages so you can see more. They'll often dress up in costumes
Sophie
and they'll have
Ryan.
paid promoters in the replies of their posts on Twitter and other sites being like, "Bruh, have you seen the Starbucks girl video? Have you seen the Spider-Man girl video?" Or, you know, they'll just post stuff like the cop video we discussed earlier. It's obnoxious, but believe it or not, before OnlyFans, this stuff was even more egregious and at times illegal. Which brings us to the case of Library Girl, a woman who gooned in a public library
Goon
for
is
attention,
crazy.
only to be later put in handcuffs, and not ones for like BDSM roleplay. Late January 2015, there was a gooner on the loose. Witnesses were coming forward, claiming that someone had allegedly filmed a sexually explicit video in a college library. News outlet The Oregonian reported that the offending video was recorded at Oregon State University. All of this transpiring during the fall semester. The
Oh,
public
I thought that was my OSU. I'm about to say, yo, what? I swear, I can't, bro. My state got no good reputation. I really thought it was
scrambled
mine.
to identify the perpetrator. Upon the discovery of this rogue gooner at large, police got involved. While they likely expected the culprit to have been some homeless crackhead that was using public library Wi-Fi to jerk off, they were surprised to find it was actually a young female student named Kendra Jane Sunderland.
She was the first.
According to Oregon State University, she was a 19-year-old Salem, Washington native.
Hold on, I'm 19. I'm 19. What's up, though?
Who had been studying human development and family science at their school. Kendra was also an aspiring adult film star. She recorded herself in an isolated area of the library, covertly gooning for approximately 30 minutes, and was apparently live streaming her performance to a small audience on an internet campsite. The video features the woman slowly undressing herself while sitting at a library desk, showing her chest and at one point taking off her pants, exposing and touching her cucaracha. Throughout the recording, she constantly looks over her shoulder to see if anyone was coming, but it turns out only she was. The scandalous study session
Oh my god, bro.
turned sex act concludes with Kendra getting up and walking away from the scene of the goon, as if nothing ever happened. But her live-streamed video left a snail trail of guilt that couldn't be wiped
that
clean.
is not the only
As you
snail
and I
trail that
both
was
know,
left.
the internet is forever. The library stream was recorded, shared, and quickly went viral, with the university obviously getting outraged that their prestigious reputation was now affiliated with a potential sex criminal. Kendra would be vigorously probed by police officers after they watched her video. Their investigation led to her eventually being detained. As a result of her library rubdown, Kendra Sunderland was arrested and was facing over $6,000 in fines and jail time for public indecency. Local news outlet KOIN actually went to the now infamous deviant's home to discuss what had happened with her, but were met with a note on the door stating that she was refusing to talk. Unable to enter the Gooners' lair, they then went to interview Steve Clark, an OSU official who strongly condemned Kendra's behavior.
This was public indecency. What you saw in the video, or hopefully your viewers did not see, were acts by an individual that were indecent and conducted in public.
Steve reveals towards the end of the report that the woman was banned from campus indefinitely. If she had any hopes of graduating college, this situation certainly didn't help things in that regard. But as you might expect, given the creation of this video in the first place, her head was in a different spot career-wise. Despite many online calling her a whore, slut, all the above, you gotta remember there's always gonna be a subset of gooners out there eager to simp. And Kendra's spicy video made her a hot commodity with these guys. While the woman had refused to make public statements initially, she eventually would come to a realization, that being, oh, I can turn this degenerate controversy into an online sex work career. Many such cases. Kendra embraced the video.
Like, low-key though, how do you just, she was 19. How do you just want to be that? How do you just want to be an adult star? Is my question. Because I'm 19 and I can't imagine just telling myself, yeah, let's show our body in the internet. That's what we want to do. Like, you got to think about it. She had to think about this. She had to think about what she wanted to do. I don't know. I feel like we're at a point where like girl influence is like really bad, because it's like either you make OnlyFans or something. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but it's like, I don't know.
And was even seen signing autographs for a fan outside of her first court hearing after pleading not guilty to her charges. When questioned, she fully defended her actions.
I think it's normal for a college campus. It's, you know, college kids, they go crazy, they party, they do fun things and experiment. I think it's, you know, it's not really big news. I think it's more shocking to other people not on campus than it is for the people on campus.
Those following the library Gooner Girl case would get more reflection from Kendra when she did a full 22-minute long interview with ABC News affiliate KEZI9. She claimed she had no intention of the video going viral when doing the stream, which I honestly believe, because outside of Mia Khalifa's hijab thing, this was sort of a first of its kind moment. I think she kind of just stumbled into this.
This guy knows what he's talking about. I'm gonna give it a like.
For the last couple of months, how have you been feeling?
Oh, I already did.
It changes every day, but at first I was just upset and sad and stuff like that, and now it's more excited for my future and everything that I have coming to me.
Jesus. So see what I'm talking about?
It's just a giant mix of emotions that goes up and down all the time, but that's just girls for you.
Was this something that you knew you always wanted to do?
See?
This is something that's always been in the back of my mind that I would dream about, but I pushed it away because I was always told, you know, you're supposed to go to college, get a degree, and get a good job.
Why would you want to sell yourself?
With your degree, but I thought I didn't want to go that route. I always wanted to be a model. I always wanted to model for Playboy and Penthouse and stuff like that, and I just never actually thought it would happen because I knew that there's a lot of girls that try so hard to get into it, and it's very hard for them to, you know, find the door and to get them into it.
So what would be the life-ruining punishment issued by the courts as a consequence for the library girl video? In September, Kendra pled guilty to a misdemeanor charge and had to pay a $1,000 fine. Yeah, Kendra's gooning didn't ruin her life at all. Rather, it made it better in just about every way imaginable.
Yep.
An unfortunate exception to the rule. The publicity surrounding Kendra's videos served as a launching pad for an extremely successful career as an adult star, with Kendra still being popular in the industry to this very day. She has millions of followers across various platforms.
Yes, I'm the OSU library girl. New to Vegas, mattress actress. I'm not even gonna
And
read the
still
rest.
refers to herself as Library Girl almost a decade after the incident.
The older I get, the less I want to wear underwear. What the hell?
She's pretty much stayed out of trouble since the video debacle, with the exception of a recent arrest related to an alleged marijuana possession charge, but who really gives a shit? Illegal gooning arguably made this woman a multi-millionaire, but she got lucky as another
See,
library
I think I've seen
gooner
her videos. I'm not sure.
wasn't so fortunate. It all begins with mysterious reports of a young woman playing with herself live on camera from what appeared to be a public library. CBC News was made aware of this
Another
potential
one?
Kendra copycat and launched an independent investigation. They alleged the woman went by the scream name Lil Secret and operated on the adult streaming site MyFreeCams. Her location was discovered after CBC cross-referenced images of the library with the
No
footage
way,
captured
bro, they
during her
got her
live
down.
streams. Windsor Public Library was that location.
Yo.
There's actually a moment in one of these recordings where a child can be seen stumbling upon this woman, which is extremely
No. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Oh, hell no.
disturbing to say the least. She
Very
allegedly hit
disturbing.
other libraries in the area and even reportedly gooned inside of a Tim Hortons. While her identity was a secret at first, the CBC unmasked her, exposing her as 21-year-old Alexandria Mora. The woman turned herself into police soon after being exposed by the media. While she initially planned to plead not guilty, it seems she eventually gave up her defense and took accountability for her gooning behavior. In
Good.
June, news outlet Windsor Star revealed that the woman had been given 12 months of probation and had to pay a $250 fine. This was on top of the
Good.
fact that she now had to register as a sex offender. When questioned, her lawyer Patrick
Yeah.
Ducarme said she dealt with it, she admitted it, she identified herself to police. She suffered a lot of public embarrassment because it truly did go viral.
Good.
Yet
Why
another
would you
example
do
of
that
how
recording
unregulated
yourself? Especially
gooning
in
can have
public.
serious ramifications. Anthony Weiner, the gooner politician.
It's on his name. Like, come on. It's on his name. He had to do something. He had to.
Politicians being weird sex pests is nothing new. You might even be tempted to say that allocating a chapter telling the story of a gooner politician is redundant or passé. Well, my rebuttal, Anthony Weiner. Anthony was a terminally bricked up
Imagine
gooner
being Weiner,
politician
bro.
whose surname just so also happened to be his favorite body part. Sadly, the guy with the Wiener name was actually quite the degenerate, and through a series of sexting scandals, illicit gooning, and extremely disturbing activity, Wiener destroyed his career in historically degenerate fashion.
Let me just reiterate to my wife
Wiener Mayor.
how sorry I am that I
Where's the mayor of Wienertown? All right.
I did these things, and how sorry I am to the people that got these messages for any inconvenience or embarrassment they've caused.
Anthony David Weiner, a Brooklyn native, first entered political office in 1999, elected as Democratic congressman for New York's 9th District. Mr. Weiner erected legislation to support New York's working class and penetrated party lines to pass bills that helped who he described as America's underdogs. As a young politician, he was groomed by Chuck Schumer and went on to spend a great deal of his tenure working to improve public housing, cleaning up New York, and stopping crime. As a
Did
matter
he?
of fact, Anthony had a team of at-risk teenagers commissioned to remove graffiti around the city that he proudly referred to as Wiener's Cleaners. While all of this is
Yo, that sounds so crazy.
admirable, I think what's even more impressive is that Anthony made it this far in life essentially with the last name Penis. I'd imagine the childhood bullying incurred from having a phallic last name like this would doom a lesser individual. But Wiener grabbed life by the balls and became successful despite his family curse. Though Mr. Wiener was not without his flaws. See, Tony had a bit of a gooning problem. On May 27, 2011, as President Obama was in the White House signing an extension to the Patriot Act, Anthony Weiner uploaded a truly bizarre photo to his Twitter. It was a crotch shot of a seemingly bricked up white guy in some boxer briefs. And the post was reportedly directed to the account of a 21-year-old Washington University student named Jeanette Cordova. The baffling photo was up only very briefly and was quickly deleted, though some people did see it. In the wake of the post, Anthony took to social media, trying to laugh it off, saying that he had been hacked or that someone was playing some sort of prank on him.
A photo of an anonymous man's bulging underwear. The
Anthony
lewd
Weiner.
picture, immediately deleted from
Anthony's
Weiner's
Weiner.
account, was sent to this 21-year-old Seattle college student.
Did you guys hear me? It was Anthony's Wiener.
But also available to the public to view on Twitter. Outside his New York home Monday, Weiner, an outspoken liberal Democrat, insisted to CNN it was the work of a hacker.
I was hacked. It happens to people. You move on. This is a prank, not a terribly creative one, and it's a distraction. Look, you know, you've got the Republicans who are playing games with the debt limit. You've got a Supreme Court justice who is refusing to recuse himself despite conflicts of interest. You have a health care act that is under siege. You know, this is a distraction.
But we all know what happened. Anthony got sloppy in the middle of a gooning session and accidentally shared an image of his cock and balls that he meant to send to one of his kittens privately. While this photo wasn't all too crazy, it was only the tip of the iceberg. Journalists began digging into Anthony's activity, not buying his prank excuse. And what they would find was truly unhinged. Anthony, a married man, was gooning and sexting chats with multiple young college-age mistresses, sharing scandalous photo after photo after photo, some of which are way too spicy for YouTube. In the wake of these leaked photos, many of which included his face in them, Anthony finally came clean, admitting he had been engaging in sexting chats with what has been described as half a dozen women.
In addition, over the past few years, I have engaged in several inappropriate conversations conducted over Twitter, Facebook, email, and occasionally on the phone with women I have met online. I have exchanged messages and photos of an explicit nature with about 6 women over the last 3 years. For the most part, these communications took place before my marriage, though some have sadly took place after. To be clear, I have never met any of these women or had physical relationships at any time. I haven't told the truth.
Like, why did you guys let this shit affect you? Why do you goon so much where it gets to a point like this? Because me personally, if I'm gonna goon, it's only for one time. And then that's it. I'm moving on with the rest of my time. I only do it to relieve stress, like dead ass. I don't see it as a different, like, primal impact on me.
And I've done things I deeply regret.
I guess I'm
With
not
the
as
smoking
addicted
gun
to them
out there and
as
mounting pressure
I
from
am.
Democratic colleagues, Mr. Weiner would resign from his position in Congress in what had become one of the most humiliating political scandals of the 21st century.
I'm here today to again apologize for the personal mistakes I have made and the embarrassment I have caused. I make this apology to my neighbors and my constituents, but I make it particularly to my wife, Huma. I had hoped to be able to continue the work that the citizens of my district elected me to do. And most importantly, that my wife and I can continue to heal from the damage I have caused.
Get out!
I mean, Tony, you're the Weiner guy. You can't get busted for something like this, man. Extortion, blackmail, take a bribe for Christ's sake, but sex stuff, your name is Weiner. You just can't do it. Bro was cooked from the start.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the distraction that I have created has made that impossible. So today I am announcing my resignation from Congress.
Anthony's resignation is likely where you would expect this story to end. But this Weiner was simply built different. When the fallout settled from the sexting scandal, Anthony actually tried to run for office again, this time setting his sights on becoming the mayor of New York City in the 2013 race. Now, surprisingly, at first, this wasn't a complete disaster. Tony promised that he was a changed man. Aside from the scandal, Anthony was actually well liked when he was a representative. And since some time had passed since that scandal, many in the public seemed to forgive Anthony by this point.
I'm glad these things are behind us. I know that this was a very public thing that we had happen to us, but by no means does it change the fundamentals of my feelings here, and that is that I want to bring my vision to the people of the city of New York. I hope they're willing to still continue to give me a second chance.
Weiner made numerous public apologies, and his wife, who
of course this is happening in New York. It makes sense. It's only New York. You only see this shit in New York.
remarkably stayed with him throughout all of this, spoke highly of her husband. And it seemed like whatever demons Anthony had were now exorcised, and he was prepared to get back to business and take New York to new heights.
Our marriage, like many others, has had its ups and its downs. It took a lot of work and a whole lot of therapy to get to a place where I could forgive Anthony.
Unfortunately for Anthony, though, his past would come back to haunt him. When news of Anthony running for mayor became widely known, old ops started coming out of the woodwork with new unseen leaked photos alleging that Anthony had actually been continuing his sexting and gooning with women that weren't his wife. Doing so after he had been exposed last time in 2011, so like he was still at it. In June, an online gossip website called The Dirty released evidence suggesting Anthony had been recklessly sexting more women in 2012, sharing a never-before-seen image of a fully torqued-up pecker that Anthony would eventually admit was in fact his.
Standing by her husband's side, wife Huma Abedin broke her silence, speaking out for the first time.
Anthony's made some horrible mistakes, both before he resigned from Congress and after. But I do very strongly believe that that is between us.
Despite the new leaks, Tony's wife continued to support him, but the public had seen...
I don't know, Huma, wife. Me personally, I don't think I would ever forgive my partner, but hey, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to you. That's how you want to live it. Go ahead, you know what I'm saying? I'm not shit. I'm just a gooner watching a video about gooners.
Enough. Weiner's mayoral campaign flopped after these new allegations and images came to light, and he ultimately conceded the race to the opposition.
And I am waging this campaign on a bet. And the bet is, at the end of the day, citizens care more about their own future than about my past with my wife and my embarrassing things.
Well, so far that bet isn't paying off.
You begin to see that this guy genuinely has a gooning problem, and it's at this part of the story that things actually start to get pretty dark and extremely perverse. Several years later, in 2016, Anthony Weiner would be back once again in the media, facing a third round of embarrassing sexual misconduct allegations. This time, though, a potential criminal element was at play. Weiner had been caught sexting once again. Leaks began dropping left and right, most of which included various post-workout thirst traps, though this round had far more explicit leaks than any before. And the most egregious of these photos? Weiner had sent a picture of himself in his underwear with his infant son swaddled up napping next to him in the picture. While neither were nude or anything, it was still extremely creepy, inappropriate, and weird. This disturbing photo, unsurprisingly, had many calling for Weiner to be criminally investigated. Like, was there a child abuse element at play here? What was going on? The discovery of this image and continued sexting with other women proved too much for Anthony's ever-loyal wife to bear this time around, and she filed for divorce shortly after the allegations came up. But it only gets worse. In 2017, it was also discovered that Anthony had been sexting with a 15-year-old girl. This proved to be the final straw, and Weiner was eventually arrested and convicted for transference of obscene material.
Weiner, man. It's in your name. You were doomed from the start. But that don't mean you were supposed to do this, Weiner. You were supposed to prove that you were the best Weiner out of all the Wieners.
material to a minor. Weiner was sentenced to serve 21 months in prison for this. He was released in 2019 after serving 18 of those months. Anthony's gooning and perverse sex habits ultimately ruined his life in a way that few politicians can lay claim to. His story started as a somewhat innocuous and humorous one about a guy named Weiner getting in trouble for being horny. But the truth of the matter was actually much darker and disturbing.
Like, bro, you have
After finishing his stint in prison, shockingly, in December 2024, Weiner actually floated the idea of filing to become part of New York City Council, though this doesn't seem to have gone anywhere, thankfully. Anthony Weiner is a prime example of how sex addiction and gooning can ruin your life. The Gooner Judge. Now this just might be the most absurd case from today in terms of being brazen. This is the story of the Gooner Judge, an individual who worked in one of society's most esteemed positions, only to be caught using toys and jerking off during court cases. In September—
Hold on, though. What kind of toys? Because you gotta think about it. It's still bad. It's still bad, I know. But think. What kind of toys? Because if he's putting some shit up, it's, you know what I'm saying? That's his business, I know. But add more years to his sentence. I don't care.
In November of 2005, allegations hit the local Oklahoma media, claiming that—
Bro! Why is it Oklahoma? That's where I'm at, bro. Oh my god. I was just talking about how we got a bad rep. And then you tell me we had a judge gooning with toys? Bro! Like, we can't have shit in Oklahoma, man. We already struggle to make content here. And then you sending us some this?
That Honorable Judge Donald Thompson of Sapulpa, Oklahoma, had covertly been masturbating while sitting at his courtroom bench for over 20 years.
He's not part of my city.
Well, he had been a judge for 20
City.
years, but he was at least doing this for like 4 or 5 years. In 2004, the judge retired, and that's when old courtroom employees and colleagues felt safe enough to spill the beans on Sapulpa's best-kept secret. Apparently, the judge had been utilizing a penis pump in the courtroom for years, beginning this advanced level gooning sometime around 2001. At first, nobody noticed. However, as time went on, the guy became less cautious and started pushing his luck further and further, and more would become aware of the disturbing activity. In 2003, a police officer reportedly noticed the pump device peeking out from the stand and took a picture of it when Thompson wasn't around. A former court reporter of his named Lisa Foster alleged that she had discovered a second backup pump used by the judge. Judge Donald Thompson was a persistent pumper, so unashamed of his activity, it's alleged that the lascivious lawman secretly used one of the toys on himself during the adjudication of a fucking murder case that involved a child. As mentioned before, the man retired in 2004, likely thinking he'd get to pump away in peace for the rest of his days.
Hell no.
But
Put his ass in
when
jail.
witnesses of his conduct,
Now you have something to pump.
notably court reporter Lisa Foster, came forward, the state charged him with some serious crimes. Judge Thompson found himself facing felony charges and serious jail time for indecent exposure. On top of the crimes, an additional allegation was levied at the judge. A witness named Angela McClanahan admitted under oath that she had a sexual affair with the man despite his status as a married individual. She was brought in after the prosecution discovered photos of an unknown penis on Thompson's work computer, which they alleged she had taken. So not only was he a gooner, but an adulterous one at that. At one point in the trial, prosecutors actually suggested that Lisa Foster should look at the dick pic found on the work computer to confirm if it was the, quote, one that she saw in the courtroom, unquote. And in response to this suggestion, Judge Thompson's defense attorney said this: if she saw a penis, it was his. There doesn't need to be a penis identity or penis lineup, unquote. I'm unsure if they actually ever made Lisa Foster play Match the Glizzy in court
That
or
would
not.
be crazy.
That's pretty insane if they did, though. Things only got worse for Judge Thompson in trial. Another court reporter and former colleague of the judge, Jan Doolin, said that she had once stumbled across what appeared to be a gooning kit consisting of lotion and Viagra when she was cleaning out the man's office. Apparently, this guy's whole modus operandi was gooning, and he had advanced strategies and care packages at the ready to take care of.
Damn, bro was popping UAVs, getting some pumps in. Oh my god.
business when he needed to.
Prestige
In light of all
Gooner.
of these crazy accusations, the case started getting national news attention.
While he sat on the bench, he apparently felt it necessary to use his penis pump.
You know, he wasn't just doing these things in traffic court. It's a couple of murder trials he was on.
If someone's life is in the balance, you're looking at life in prison, and this guy is playing around with a penis pump?
Judge Thompson used his device during 3 separate trials between 2000 and 2003.
Oh my
And
god,
when I
bro.
stepped into the courtroom, the judge had that pump in his lap, and I saw his penis.
One massive piece of evidence used to nail the judge down for his activity is actually quite disturbing. Court reporter Lisa Foster claimed that the disgraced judge had been using the pump during a trial in which a man had been accused of killing a small child. Well, this case was actually recorded by her personally, and when played back, the sound of the pump device can be heard on an audio recording she captured. It's just whirring away in the middle of the trial. This testimony and audio evidence would be the smoking gun prosecutors needed to win the case. Ultimately, Judge Thompson was convicted and sentenced to 4 years in prison for his heinous
Seal him. Seal him. He needs to be sealed. Put his ass with Eisen.
crimes, in addition to having to pay $40,000 in fines. Even after leaving prison, the man's life would continue to go downhill. The Oklahoma news outlet News 6 reported in 2011 that he had been arrested 3 times since his release from prison. Angela McClanahan, the woman who had been brought in as a witness during the 2005 trial, was now pressing charges against the guy for stalking. Apparently, the man had gotten himself beaten up by her new boyfriend after he was caught staring through her bathroom window. This guy is a gooner for life, I guess. He was again arrested for staring at McClanahan through a pair of binoculars, but posted bail shortly after that incident. And a final insult to injury, the Oklahoma Supreme Court ruled that Judge Thompson would not receive any retirement benefits. I think it's safe to say that gooning fucking ruined this guy's life.
Today, the High Court said Thompson violated his oath of office. He would have been entitled to more than $7,000 a month in retirement payments.
Well, my friends, I hope this video serves as a warning. It's okay to dip your toes into the gooning pool here and there, but be careful. You never want to let your life get consumed by it, because as you're now very aware, gooning can ruin your life.
Yep. Amazing video by Wavy Webster. Now, as you guys know, the strongest man lost to lust. Y'all gotta watch out. Don't goon too much. Don't goon too much, or you guys gonna end up like, I'm gonna end up in videos I'm gonna be reacting about gooners. If you're not a gooner, go ahead, drop a like. If you guys haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe. And yeah, that's about it. See you guys in the next video.